It was supposed to be a quiet day off. Just the crunch of boots on gravel, cold wind on the face, and the silence of Montana's Glacier Ridge Trail. But that morning, everything changed. Noah Caldwell had walked that trail more times than he could count. He liked the solitude. Out there, he wasn't a trauma nurse. Wasn't a statistic. Wasn't a black man constantly dodging judgment. He was just Noah. But as he rounded a bend on the trail, he heard it, a groan. Faint. Too human to ignore. 30 feet off the main path, through a mess of thorns and frost-covered brush, he found her. She was barely conscious. Blood on her temple, her leg bent at an unnatural angle. Noah's stomach turned at the sight. Her hiking pants were shredded, and her phone lay shattered beside her. "I got you," Noah said gently, kneeling beside her. She flinched. "Don't touch me. Wait. Who are you?" "Noah," he replied calmly. "I'm a nurse. You're hurt bad, but I can help." Reluctantly, she nodded. He worked fast, splinting the leg with tent poles and torn cloth. She bit her lip hard, trying not to scream. "This'll hurt, but it'll help more," he told her. Then, with no stretcher, no backup, and barely enough daylight left, Noah hoisted her into his arms and started the 3-mile descent down the icy trail. She was light, but unconscious weight always felt heavier. Every step was agony. Twice, he nearly dropped her. Once, he hit his knee so hard on a rock he saw stars. But he didn't stop. He couldn't. By the time he reached the ranger station, she was fading fast. The ranger, a wide-eyed guy named Casey, froze when he saw her. "Wait, is that?" "Broken tib-fib, early hypothermia. We need evac now," Noah barked. But as Casey radioed for help, the name dropped. "Are you Blair Kensley?" That name meant nothing to Noah. Not then. But the look on Casey's face said everything. Later, sitting in his truck, Noah Googled her. Blair Kensley. Tech mogul. CEO of Helix One. Net worth $5.8 billion. He hadn't recognized her. He hadn't needed to. She was a person in pain. That was enough. By morning, the world knew. Local news was calling him Montana's mountain hero. His photo, carrying her like a firefighter, was everywhere. But at work, the mood was different. Noah's boss at Roosevelt General didn't greet him with applause. Instead, he got a terse message. "Come in. 10 a.m. When he walked into her office, she didn't even look up. "You left your shift," she said flatly. "It was my day off. You were on emergency call status. We couldn't reach you. I saved someone's life." "And you broke protocol," she snapped. "One of our board members has ties to Helix One. This attention, it complicates things." "You're firing me?" "Effective immediately." He left without another word. Later that week, he sat in a dusty booth at his favorite diner off Route 87. B, the waitress, slid him a coffee. "I saw you on the news." "That was you." He nodded. "You saved a billionaire and got fired for it?" Noah chuckled bitterly. Apparently good deeds come with penalties now. B shrugged. "You did the right thing. That doesn't change. But sometimes, the world don't like seeing someone like you be the hero." That night, his phone rang. Unknown number. "Noah," a soft voice said. "It's Blair." He froze. "I found out what happened. I'm sorry. You deserved better. Can I see you? In person?" The next morning, she arrived. Not alone. 10 luxury vehicles lined his quiet street. Rolls-Royce, Bentley, Mercedes. Neighbors stared. Photos were taken. Blair emerged from the car. Sunglasses, cane, quiet strength. Inside Noah's apartment, she opened a folder. Inside, plans. A proposal. "I'm funding mobile health units in rural communities. I want you to run one. Build it. Staff it. Lead it." "Why me?" he asked. Because you didn't ask who I was. You just helped. And that's who I trust to do this right. The clinic van arrived the next week. It was a rolling miracle. Ultrasound, trauma gear, refrigeration for vaccines. Noah's name was on the side. Director of Field Medicine. He was skeptical. Grateful. But skeptical. Then came the whispers. Why him? Looks staged. Just another guy cashing in on a good deed. The internet turned cruel. The same people who praised him called him a grifter. His cousin Ty called him one night. You need to talk. You let them write your story, they'll write you out. So Noah gave one interview. One. No cameras. Just his voice. His truth. I didn't save her for money, he said. I didn't even know who she was. I just didn't want her to die on that trail. The story went viral. Not because it was dramatic, but because it was real. Donations came in, $20, $50, sometimes $5, from regular folks in small towns. People asked if he could bring the van to their community. But not everyone was happy. He found a note taped to the van. Bought and paid for. Hope she's worth it. Noah tossed it without a word. 2 months in, he'd visited 11 towns, treated over 400 patients, trained 2 more nurses, and added a second van. A teen named Zoe shadowed him for a day. I didn't know people like us could do this, she said. We can, Noah replied. And you will. Blair visited twice. Quietly. No press. Just observation. You ever think about expanding this? She asked once. Yeah, Noah said. But not until I get it right. Before she left, she handed him a handwritten letter. At the bottom, it read, I spent years building an empire. You reminded me that empires mean nothing if people forget how to serve. Now, he drives 6 days a week. From abandoned towns to forgotten reservations. No speeches. No headlines. Just healing. People still talk. But now, it's different. They say, that's the man who helped my daughter. That's the guy who checked my heart when no one else would. And Noah? He's not chasing headlines. He's rewriting what it means to serve, with his hands, his van, and his name. This is Franjo Crime Stories, where quiet heroes speak loudest through their actions. Would you like this formatted as a video script with scene directions and voiceover guidance? Noah Caldwell stood beneath a gray morning sky, the new mobile clinic humming quietly behind him. It had been 3 months since he lost his job, 3 months since Blair Kensley handed him the keys to a second chance. In that time, he'd brought medical care to nearly a dozen underserved towns, places most doctors had never even driven through. From old railroad towns in South Dakota to reservation land in northern Montana, Noah had become something more than a nurse. He was hope, on wheels. But that hope came at a cost. Noah pulled the van into a weathered town square. A sign read Welcome to Hallow Creek, Pop 612. Mothers were already lined up. Children clung to their coats. Elders leaned on canes, waiting patiently. Inside the van, Noah prepped syringes for flu vaccines when his assistant, Renee, looked up from her phone. You might want to see this. Noah wiped his hands and took the phone. A viral video was playing. A podcaster was speaking into the camera. Why is a fired nurse suddenly running $1 million health van? You think that's charity? No. That's payoff. Classic PR stunt. Save the billionaire, get the golden ticket. Noah's jaw clenched. The comment section was even worse. Bet he's just a face for it. More performative philanthropy. When's the Netflix deal? He handed the phone back. Let's get to work. A young woman named Raquel stepped inside, holding her baby daughter. She's had a cough for days, Raquel whispered, but the nearest ER's 2 hours. I didn't know what else to do. Noah knelt, listened to the baby's breathing. He caught the faint wheeze right away. Looks like the start of RSV. Nothing too serious right now. But I'm glad you brought her in. Raquel's eyes filled. No one's ever told me that before. Thank you. Noah smiled gently. You're not alone, Raquel. Outside, the line kept growing. Noah treated 37 patients that day. Burns, sprains, infections, untreated diabetes. Quiet emergencies, all ignored by the system. But behind every diagnosis, he saw the doubt people carried in their eyes. Not about his skills, but about his motives. Noah sat with Renee, sharing fries at the only open diner in town. The waitress handed them a newspaper. Local headline: Noah Caldwell, savior or self-promoter? Renee scoffed. Seriously? After everything? Noah stared at the photo under the headline. It was him giving a kid a tetanus shot. Innocent. Pure. But the article twisted it. A quote from a town councilman: "We appreciate the help, but nobody gives something for nothing anymore." Noah folded the paper slowly. "You know," he said, voice quiet, "I never asked for cameras or articles or applause. I just wanted to treat people. Same thing I've always done." "And now they want to turn you into a villain," Renee muttered. Noah didn't respond. That night, Noah called Blair. She picked up immediately. "I read the article," she said before he could speak. "It's trash." "I'm tired, Blair," he admitted, "of proving myself, of pretending it doesn't sting." "You don't owe them anything." "That's the problem," he said. "I think I do. Because some of the people starting to doubt me, they're the ones I'm trying to help." There was silence on the line. Then she spoke, softer than before. "Do you want to walk away?" He didn't answer right away, but his silence said enough. "I'm flying in tomorrow," Blair said. "There's something I need to tell you. In person." Blair arrived quietly. No motorcade. Just a black SUV and tired eyes behind dark glasses. Inside the van, she sat across from Noah. "I know you've been carrying this alone," she began. "But there's more going on than you know." Noah looked up. "What do you mean?" She pulled out a sealed envelope. "My legal team intercepted this. It's a letter sent anonymously to one of our major partners." He opened it. Read the first line. Then froze. It wasn't just a smear campaign. It was a threat. "If you keep funding that nurse, we'll bury both of you. We know what he's hiding. This isn't over." His voice barely rose above a whisper. "They're coming after you too?" Blair nodded. "Someone wants to shut this down. And I think I know who." The inside of the van was quiet, except for the faint hum of the refrigerator keeping vaccines cold. Noah sat at the small desk, the anonymous letter spread out in front of him like a trap he hadn't seen coming. Blair stood near the door, arms crossed, her cane leaning against the wall. "They said they know what I'm hiding," Noah muttered. "But I've got nothing to hide." Blair didn't answer at first. Then softly, "That letter wasn't just sent to me, Noah. Copies went to the Montana Health Board, 2 news stations, and a local senator." Noah's stomach dropped. Somebody wants to destroy this from the inside out. Noah remembers the whispers when he first started. The nurse who turned her eyes away. The hospital director who never returned his call. That board member with a connection to Helix One. Blair's voice breaks through the flashback. "We think someone at Westbrook Medical sent it." Noah's eyes narrowed. Lorna. That night, Noah sat on his couch, the letter on the table beside his phone. He pulled up his old hospital contacts. He hadn't spoken to anyone from Westbrook since the day they let him go. His thumb hovered over the name. Dr. Aaron Klein, trauma surgeon. One of the few who'd had his back. He called. "Hey, Aaron. Can I ask you something off the record?" A pause. Then, "You heard about the letter?" Noah's heart sank. "So it's real. Real enough that HR had a meeting about it. There's whispers that someone's trying to dig into your licensure." "But why?" Another pause. "Politics. Jealousy. Take your pick, man. Some people don't like that you got out and landed on your feet." Especially not like this. Did Lorna have anything to do with it? A long silence. I can't say. But I'd watch your back. The next morning, the clinic set up outside a school gymnasium. The line stretched half a block. But something felt off. A man parked across the street in a rusted pickup truck, watching. Didn't move. Didn't blink. Later, when Noah stepped out to check supplies, the man drove slowly by and tossed a small envelope at his feet. Inside, a photo of Noah, Blair, and a single line. You don't belong here. Renee found him later, shoulders tense, eyes staring into nothing. We should tell the police, she said. Noah shook his head. They won't do anything until something already happens. And by then, it'll be too late. He pulled the curtain shut. That night, he didn't sleep. 2 days later, Noah drove back to Billings. To Westbrook Medical. He sat in the parking lot for 10 minutes before getting out. He wasn't here for revenge. He was here for answers. Lorna was just stepping out of her Lexus when he called her name. She turned, and for a moment, her eyes widened. Noah, we need to talk. She glanced around. I don't think this is appropriate. Did you send that letter? Her eyes flickered. I don't know what you're talking about. You fired me because I broke protocol, and now someone's trying to ruin my license, smear my name. She cut him off. This isn't about you, Noah. This is about optics. Our board didn't want your name tied to theirs after the headlines. You made waves. I saved a life. You made people uncomfortable. Noah's voice cracked. Then say that. Don't hide behind anonymous letters. But Lorna just turned away. As she walked off, she muttered, You think doing the right thing protects you? Grow up. Noah stood in that lot for a long time, fists clenched, every breath heavier than the last. Later that night, as the van parked outside a community center in Idaho Falls, Noah powered down the generator. He opened a drawer and pulled out his mother's old photo. She had passed before she ever saw this part of his life. He whispered, Ma, I'm trying. I swear I'm trying. A knock startled him. It was Blair. She held out her phone. You need to see this. A video was playing, grainy footage from a security camera. It showed someone slipping a USB drive into the main server room at Westbrook Medical. The person was masked, but the jacket? It had a name tag. Barely visible, but readable. Renee. Noah's assistant. Noah Caldwell stared at Blair's phone like it had just stopped his heart. A fuzzy video clip. A dark server room. And a jacket with one name stitched just above the chest. R. Pasco. Renee. His assistant. His second set of hands. His teammate. For the past 3 months, she had been at every clinic stop. Helping patients. Managing supplies. Cracking jokes to keep spirits up when days got long. Now, Blair broke the silence. We have surveillance footage from the hospital's internal IT logs. The timestamp matches the day the anonymous letters were sent out. Noah's throat went dry. I don't understand, he whispered. She came from Westbrook, yeah, but she vouched for me. She believed in the mission. Blair sat gently across from him. Noah, someone sent her to you. Noah opened the side door. The cold air hit him like a slap. He spotted Renee standing near the mobile fridge, prepping supplies for the next morning. He approached slowly. Renee. She turned, casual. Hey, getting a head start on the Paxlovid inventory. Tomorrow's run is gonna be heavy. He swallowed. We need to talk. She tilted her head. Okay. He pulled out his phone and played the clip. Her smile didn't fade. Not right away. Then, something flickered in her eyes. A twitch. She stepped back, breath caught. I can explain. You broke into the hospital's server. You leaked my files. Noah. You fed information to people trying to shut this clinic down. Why? Her voice cracked. Because I was told you were dangerous. That this wasn't about helping people. It was about image. Politics. Told by who? Her eyes darted. Lorna. Board members. People I trusted. People who said they had proof you were unstable. That you. And you believed them? He shouted. Silence. I believed. I believed you were too good to be true, she whispered. I kept waiting for the mask to slip. Tears welled in her eyes. But then it didn't. Noah stood by the roadside, hands on his head, pacing. Blair watched from a distance. She didn't interfere. Inside the van, Renee sat on the floor, crying silently. She had crossed a line she couldn't uncross. Renee packed her bag. Said nothing. Just handed Noah her clinic badge. Noah didn't take it. Why now? He asked. Because I finally realized you never asked for any of this. You just kept showing up. She reached the door, then stopped. I sent the letters, Noah. But I didn't write the worst one. He turned slowly. What do you mean? She hesitated. There's another name on this. Someone closer to you than I ever was. Noah hadn't slept. The dawn sky bled pink and gray as he sat alone in the van, Renee's words still replaying in his mind. There's another name on this. Someone closer to you than I ever was. He had spent most of the night going over every encounter, every conversation, every person who had been near the clinic, near his files, near him. But his mind kept returning to one name. Tyren. His cousin. His best friend. The only person who'd stood by him after he got fired. The one who told him, don't let them firing you be the story you remember. The one he trusted with everything. Noah made the 2-hour drive without thinking. His hands were on the wheel, but his mind was racing ahead of him. He arrived at Tyren's complex just after 9 a.m. The door was already open when he knocked. Hey man. Tyren smiled, pulling him into a quick hug. Didn't expect you. What's up? Noah didn't smile back. He walked past him, into the living room. I need to ask you something. And I want the truth. Tyren's face shifted. Okay. Did you leak anything about me? About the clinic? About Blair? The question hit like a brick. Tyren froze. What are you talking about? Renee told me there's another name behind the attacks. Someone close. Someone who knew my schedule, my patients, my location. Silence. Noah's eyes didn't move. Please don't lie to me, Ty. Not you. Scene. Flashback. Noah's voiceover. Noah remembers the late-night calls with Tyren. The advice. The moments Tyren asked detailed questions about Blair. About funding. About legal documents. Back to scene. Tyren's living room. Tyren sat down slowly. I didn't want to hurt you. Noah's jaw clenched. But you did. They came to me, man. Before the van. Before any of this blew up. Some corporate guys tied to Helix One's competitors. Said you were being used. Said Blair was grooming you to be a PR face while they ran the real operation. And you believed them? I thought I was protecting you. Tyren snapped. I gave them little things. Van routes, stops, media schedules, so they'd back off. So they wouldn't ruin you. Noah took a step back, as if the air had been sucked out of the room. You thought leaking my clinic operations was protecting me? They said if I didn't cooperate, they'd take you down. I panicked. But I swear I didn't know it would go this far. Noah looked away, tears welling, his voice barely above a whisper. You were the one person I never questioned. Noah walked out without another word. Tyren called after him. Noah, please. You know I love you, right? You know I didn't mean to. But the door shut behind him. The van was quiet. Renee was gone. Tyren was exposed. Blair was flying back to D.C. for a shareholder meeting. And Noah, he was alone. Again. He opened the glove compartment and pulled out the letter Blair had written months ago. You reminded me that empires mean nothing if people forget how to serve. He stared at it, then at the binder with 6 new towns scheduled for care. His hands trembled. The weight of betrayal, the loneliness, the pressure. Then, his phone buzzed. Unknown number. He answered, expecting more bad news. Instead, it was a child's voice. Is this Mr. Noah? My mama said you helped her last month. I drew you a picture. Do you want to see it? Noah choked back emotion. Yeah, I'd love to see it. A pause. Okay. But my mama also said not to talk too long. She said someone's been asking questions about you. A man with a badge. Noah's spine straightened. A badge. Yeah. He came by today. Said he needed to know where your van was going next. Betrayal left him shattered. But now the law is knocking. On whose orders? In Part 6 of Franjo Crime Stories, Noah must face not just enemies in the shadows, but a system aiming to shut him down completely. Rain battered the roof of the van like it was trying to rip through it. Noah Caldwell sat at the fold-out table, soaked paperwork in front of him. Blair's voice echoed from the phone's speaker. A federal agent asking about your route? That's not random, Noah. He rubbed his temples. A kid told me. Said the guy flashed a badge and asked where I'd be next. He didn't even hide it. Blair's voice was calm but clipped. Someone's weaponizing the system now. They're not just trying to ruin your name, they're trying to shut you down. The next stop was Pine Hollow, Idaho. The town's only clinic had closed a year ago. By sunrise, a crowd was already forming. But parked 2 spaces from the van was a black unmarked SUV. Inside sat a man in a crisp jacket, watching. Noah didn't acknowledge him. He opened the van and got to work. Blood pressure, wound care, vaccine storage. One by one, patients stepped in. But the man didn't leave. The door swung open hard. The agent stepped in. Mr. Caldwell? Noah turned. Yes. Agent Peters. Department of Health and Human Services. We've received multiple anonymous complaints about your mobile operations. I'm placing this unit under temporary audit effective immediately. Renee, replaced recently by a new assistant, looked alarmed. What complaints? Peters didn't blink. Unlicensed pharmaceuticals, improper medical waste disposal, and suspicions of misuse of charitable funds. Noah's voice tightened. That's a lie. Peters pulled a document from his briefcase. This is a federal order. You're to cease operations until this investigation is concluded. Noah stood in the parking lot as Agent Peters posted a red temporarily shut down sticker on the side of the clinic. Patients began to murmur. Someone asked, "Is it true?" Noah couldn't even look at them. He just whispered, "No, it's not." That night, Noah sat in a cheap motel, the light from the screen flickering across his face. "They've frozen the clinic accounts," Blair said. "What does that mean?" "It means we can't pay your staff, can't refill meds, can't run the van." Noah leaned forward. "Tell me the truth. Did Helix One competitors do this?" Blair nodded slowly. "I had a meeting today with a senator. Off the record, he told me your name came up in a closed-door session about mobile medicine liability. That's not coincidence. Some corporate guys tied to Helix One's competitors said they'd take you down. I've got lawyers working on this," Blair said. "But I need you to be careful." Noah shook his head. "I'm not the one who needs protecting. The people we were helping, some of them will go without care this week. Some won't make it until the next round." He looked at the screen. "They don't want me to fight back." Blair nodded. "So what are you going to do?" "I'm going to make them watch me rise anyway." Noah sat across from journalist Shiloh Greer again. Same cafe. Same table. This time, he brought the shutdown order. "I want the truth out. Not for me, for the patience. They deserve to know why their care disappeared overnight. Shiloh listened quietly, then asked, "What if they dig deeper? What if they find something else to use against you?" Noah leaned forward. "Then I'll own it. But they'll have to drag me through the dirt. Because I'm not stopping. A borrowed van. No labels. No equipment. Just Noah, a few boxes of donated supplies, and a makeshift schedule passed around on Facebook. He stopped at a church parking lot in a forgotten Oregon town. Dozens were already waiting. A woman hugged him. "My daughter's asthma's been acting up. When I saw your post, I prayed you'd come." Noah looked around the empty lot. Nothing but folding chairs and a borrowed table. He smiled gently. "We're going to take care of her." He collapsed on the bed, physically broken, but something inside him still burning. Then his phone rang. Unknown number. He answered. A voice came through. Not Blair. Not Shiloh. Not Tyren. It was Lorna, his old hospital supervisor. "Noah," she said, tone clipped. "You need to listen carefully. You're not just in danger. They're digging into your mother's past now." He sat up straight. "What are you talking about?" "They're going to try to discredit your background. Your licensing. Even how you paid for nursing school. Someone pulled sealed documents. They're going after your family." His voice dropped. "That's not possible. You need to get ahead of it. Before the story drops." A beat of silence. Then Lorna said, "I shouldn't be calling you. But I couldn't let you be blindsided." The line went dead. His hand trembled. All this time, he thought he was the target. But now, they were reaching backward, digging up things that could undo his entire life. He stood in the dark motel room, fists clenched. His mother's photo was still in his wallet. Now, they were trying to drag her into this. They couldn't break him. So now they're trying to break his legacy. In Part 7 of Franjo Crime Stories, Noah fights to defend not just his mission, but his family's name, and the truth that could destroy or redeem everything. Noah Caldwell sat in the dark. The phone call from Lorna echoed in his ears. "They're digging into your mother's past now. Sealed records, licensure, school funding." It wasn't enough for them to stop his mission. Now, they wanted to tear apart the very roots of who he was. The rain outside tapped against the window like a ticking clock. But inside, something shifted in Noah. Fear burned away, replaced by resolve. Noah met with Shiloh Greer again, this time not for an interview, but for truth. They sat in a quiet corner, a stack of files on the table. "I got a name," Shiloh whispered. "One of the law firms trying to tank your clinic. They're representing a major Helix 1 competitor, Prometra Energy. They've been targeting Blair for years." Noah nodded slowly. "They couldn't get to her. So they came for me. But they underestimated one thing," Shiloh said. "You didn't need a billion-dollar company to stand tall." She placed one more document on the table. An old donation receipt. Nursing school tuition. Paid in full. From the First Mount Zion Community Fund. A church-sponsored scholarship. "Your record's clean, Noah. Your mother did everything right. She worked 2 jobs and built you up from scratch. This was never about dirt. It was about distraction." Noah exhaled, the tension in his chest finally breaking loose. "They tried to shame me with my roots," he said softly. "But my roots are the reason I'm still standing." Shiloh published the final piece. The truth behind the shutdown. One man, one clinic, and the fight to keep people alive. It told the full story. Noah's climb. The betrayals. The shutdown. The smear campaigns. But most importantly, it told the truth about the people he helped. The grandmother in South Dakota. The boy with undiagnosed diabetes in Wyoming. The pregnant teen in Oregon who had nowhere else to go. The story went viral. But for once, not because of drama. Because of dignity. Blair stood on stage beside Noah, presenting to a crowded room full of community leaders. Behind them, a new initiative. Northreach Mobile Health. Independent. Expanding. Fully funded. With donations pouring in, not from billionaires, but regular people, Blair was able to restructure the foundation, removing corporate influence. Noah was reinstated as director, but this time with full ownership. No board to fire him. No one to silence him. A painted mural showed Noah carrying a woman down a snowy trail. Below it, the words, "Because every life deserves to be carried." Noah stood quietly as children clapped and elders wiped away tears. One boy looked up and asked, "Mr. Noah, are you a doctor?" Noah knelt beside him. "No. I'm just someone who showed up when it mattered." Months later, the van rolled quietly into a remote Montana town. A woman waved him over. "You're the nurse, right? I didn't think anyone would come out this far." He smiled, stepped out, opened the doors. "We don't turn people away. We turn up." They tried to break him. They tried to bury him. They even tried to make him question who he was. But Noah Caldwell didn't rise for headlines or revenge. He rose for the people no one else saw. And in doing so, he taught us something the world forgets far too often. Doing good may not make you rich. It may not make you famous. But it will always make you matter. And sometimes, being the quiet one who keeps showing up is the most powerful kind of strength. Franjo Crime Stories. Subscribe for more stories that remind us what really matters.